Well, okay, time for a quick thing that I hate. So every movie, it is now indicated by Hollywood that every single movie that is made must have some sort of LGBT reference. It doesn't matter if it's involved in the plot at all. It doesn't matter if it has anything to do with the characters. We have to throw in some oblique reference to somebody being gay or lesbian. It's very, very important this happen. And then, right before release, we'll cut all those references, right? This is what Hollywood does. So they did it in Black Panther. There's apparently a lesbian reference that happened in the middle of the film, and then it was just sort of cut because they realized, oh, wait a second, a bunch of 10-year-olds are going to watch this film, and maybe we don't want 10-year-olds thinking about lesbianism in the middle of a film about Black Panther. Maybe that's silly. Maybe we shouldn't actually do that because that's really political. Well, they're now doing the same thing with Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So apparently there was a scene where there's a star named Daniela Pineda, and a line of dialogue was cut from the film that would have revealed that her character, Zia Rodriguez, was a lesbian. She says, I understood why they cut it for the sake of time. It's me and Chris Pratt, and we're in a military vehicle with all these mercenaries. I look at Chris and I'm like, yeah, square jaw, good bone structure, tall, muscles. I don't date men, but if I did, it would be you. It would gross me out, but I would do it. Okay, now, question. Why was that in the film in the first place? Was it deeply important to know that this character, who probably will be eaten by a dinosaur, is a lesbian? Is that really, really important? Like, is that something that we definitely needed to know? Did we need to know Jeff Goldblum's sexuality? He's just a weirdo, right? And we didn't need to know Jeff Goldblum's sexuality in the original Jurassic Park. This whole idea that we have to insert social justice messaging into films in the most obvious and clunky possible way is really stupid. Now, there are plenty of shows, there are plenty of movies where a character's homosexuality is integral to the plot. So, for example, a couple of days ago, I recommended a show called Animal Kingdom. One of the sons is gay. This is actually somewhat integral to the plot. It actually goes to character. But just randomly suggesting that somebody is gay or lesbian and that this somehow magically changes the entire fabric of the movie is really stupid, right? It's something that people feel, something that people do, something that is an orientation, but it is also an activity, but it has nothing to do with hunting dinosaurs. Like, what exactly makes it have anything to do with hunting dinosaurs? I don't know. But then GLAAD is going to complain about it, right? So this is my favorite part. So virtually every film, virtually every TV show is pre-screened for GLAAD, the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, so that GLAAD can vet it first, which is a little bit Orwellian, right? We don't have that among conservatives, right? We don't get to actually pre-screen all the movies to say, hey, that's really insulting to Christians. If we did, then half the movies that exist would not actually be able to come out in their current form. But the GLAAD does these long reports about exactly what percentage of studio films include LGBTQ characters. So they say that 12.8% of studio films from last year included LGBTQ characters, the lowest percentage since the organization began keeping tabs in 2012. The organization's report notes that this year, films such as gay teen romance Love, Simon, and Deadpool 2, which featured a lesbian X-Men couple, have raised the bar for representation, but other projects that have drawn upon source material featuring LGBTQ characters opted not to depict them on screen in that way. Tessa Thompson noted that her Thor Ragnarok character Valkyrie is bisexual in the comics, and though that isn't addressed in the film, the actress was faithful to that in her depiction. It's very important that we make sure that there are bisexual characters in all of our comic book movies. Deeply, deeply important. You wouldn't want to alienate gays and lesbians who wouldn't otherwise watch a comic book movie if there's not a gay, fake, fictional character living in an off-world scenario. But just like to point one thing out. If 12.8% of studio films included LGBTQ characters, which presumably means that, a major percentage of these films, like about 2% of the American population is actually LGBTQ, like openly identifies as LGBTQ, not 12.8%. Now you might say, well, there are lots of characters in these films. That's true. But if only about 2% of the American population identifies as openly LGBTQ, that means that very few people are actually associating in many places in the country with people who are LGBTQ. So if you're just representing stories, then not all of those stories are going to include gay characters. Right? Not everybody has a gay friend or a gay person who is integral to the plot of their character, integral to the plot of their life. And even if they are gay, what does that have to do with most movies? Most movies don't reveal the sexuality of random characters. So it's all very weird. It's all very useless. But again, it is designed to appease a particular social justice crowd in film. You want to put gay characters in film? Go for it, so long as it's actually relevant to the plot and the character. But the suggestion that every character has to have their sexual orientation revealed because even in the most oblique way it's relevant to character is really stupid. There are a lot of gay people, a lot of straight people who don't identify their sexual orientation as the key component of their life, what makes them a good or bad person or relevant to any particular story.